my gosh, he did that to me.
Sorry, it's been a while.
Joe doesn't know the joke. Just say hi.
Hey guys.
We'll fill him in on it later, but you guys know.
Yeah, it was fun. Anyway, thank you, our dear Ellie. You know that I guess that's kind of our pet name for her.
Yes.
But this is our. Well, I mean, she's the one that put this together. So she has gone through and revamped and tidied things up, and we'll continue to do and add more to the website. And as time goes on, definitely have a lot of big plans. But this is our website, evolutionaryenergyarts.com. You please do go and check it out. As you can see, it gives you more ideas about what we do. Energy work, biofield tuning, Vedic astrology, spiritual coaching, health coaching, help with ascension, clearing negative entities and attachments, tarot readings, learning to understand Reiki, pranic healing, Qigong, connecting to your guides, angels, connecting to past loved ones. Yeah, that's really the starting point. And, check out the reviews. There are reviews here. Lots going on. It's really, really exciting. You have your little about section too. And we're going to get a picture of my lovely wife up there too. But this is actually us in a past life, over here. Yeah, I still have the big beak, but what can I say?
It's super cute.
Oh my gosh, so much to share with you guys. So do check it out again, evolutionaryenergyarts.com. And we want to thank everybody again for your support over on Patreon. We couldn't do anything without your support over there, guys. We'll have a Patreon exclusive coming up tomorrow as well. Again, there are different tiers there. And when you go to the Evolutionary Patreon tier and the Archangel, those tiers do come with sessions as well as the other things that are available at that level. So, Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum vows to protect the country's sovereignty after Trump designates 6 Mexican cartels as terrorist organizations. She warns the U.S. against intervention, saying we do not negotiate sovereignty. Because, in case you missed it, basically he said we will go after them wherever they are. We touched on this before. 43 countries. They're in 43 countries, these different cartels. So, again, we will go after them wherever they are. Well, Mexico's saying, no, you're not coming in with your military into our country. That's an invasion of sovereignty. One of those 43 countries, by the way, is China as well. And yeah, it feels like there's an inevitability, as long as we still have this power structure on the planet, that at some point in time, China and the U.S. will square off.
Mm-hmm. It's a mess. I mean, I look at it and I have a really hard time processing it, but I just see the mess getting bigger and bigger. Your thoughts?
It's one of those scratch your head moments in history. I don't know if this is like super next level trolling, but I know that we wouldn't want people coming into our country and doing the opposite. So I'm just like being the observer here and just kind of sitting back and watching the show, because to me that's what it appears to be. It's all a stage, really.
It is. It's a stage, and I think the more we can really point that out and help people understand, the more maybe they can have this Buddhist detachment and not get into the fray and get all wound up and upset, because that brings another level of beings that are getting fed, and we just don't want that. So we want a deep understanding about everything that's going on. We do not want attachment to it.
No, we will rise above and keep flying above. You were using that term, Joe, I forget what we were talking about, skimming the wave tops, so we don't have to go down into the muck and the mire. Yeah. That's exactly what we're looking at. Here you have Putin offering the U.S. rare minerals. Russia has significantly more, and I cannot stress this enough, larger resources than Ukraine. We would be open to cooperation with our American partners, meaning governmental, administrative, and also private companies. Developing these resources requires significant capital investment. Wow, yeah, it's pretty wild because, of course, you'll have the Dems that were saying that, 47 is in league with Russia. And then, of course, we have all the democratic ties to the fine dining ware country. Russia and China are allied. They have, significant military and other investments and ties. They've done numerous war game exercises together. Yet, at the same time, it feels like the timeline that we are on right now might have a huge major twist. How about the U.S. aligning with Russia? That would be something. And then perhaps China and, let's just say, the more Islamic nations of the world being allied together. It's just curious to watch all this. I really, really feel like we're on a totally different timeline now. But at the same time, I can see where certain prophecies would line up with that too. Maybe, maybe they stay allied for a while, and then I know there was somebody that was talking about the war breaking out. I'm not sure. Mama Jan might know if she's watching this. I think it might have been in one of those Catholic prophecies of, you were saying it too, Russia being like a hope for the U.S. I know there's for the world, like
I think Edgar Casey.
Was it Edgar Casey?
If I remember correctly, Edgar Casey said something about how in the end times that they will actually be on the positive side.
Well, again, you could look to Russia and, hey, Tartary, Tartaria. It's again interesting, and it does boggle my mind that we can't all get along because, again, it's through this nonstop warfare that they keep humanity from really eliminating all our problems, which we really could do so damn quick. The Walmart CEO warns food prices are causing frustration and pain. No kidding. No bleep Sherlock. Yeah, obviously. I mean, for us, it is our number one expense. And I want to say, the food bill is double the mortgage. Yeah, easily. So, but this is, again, something that was prophesized. It was, talking in the Bible there, it's outrageous for food in these end times. And yet at the same time, luxury items will be dirt cheap. And we could see how that's manifesting. But again, it's all a stage. It's all part of the script.
This really bothers me extra because I know you can go into Walmart. And if you're not shopping GMO, you can still shop fairly cheap. But the problem is even the food that is really cheap is becoming too expensive. So if you're someone who has to eat special food, like specialty food, and you can't just get anything, that's creating even more of a problem. I think what this is going to do, though, I like to try to find the silver lining. I think what it's going to do is it's going to drive people to start creating their own food, their own way.
Well, ironically, we started out with mom and pop shops in the smaller communities, and then the next thing you know, Walmart comes in and it pushes those people out of business at the lower rates. And then once the competition is gone, now all of a sudden the cost of food goes back up. And so that's where we're finding ourselves right now. We don't have any alternatives, or limited alternatives, I should say. But in Pennsylvania, where I'm from, there are a lot of local farmers that sell right out of their farm, and especially the Amish. And again, you have to do your research to see what they're feeding the animals and where you're getting your eggs and all that, but at least it's local. I mean, some of this stuff, I remember I was working at the time at a company, and one of the LPNs came in, and he was mortified and he couldn't sleep all night. He says, "Oh my God, I just found out last night, it was on one of the major, networks, that it was either beef or pork. It was they grew them here and they shipped them to China. China processed them and shipped them back. Oh, wow. and because there was no or less stringent packaging and processing and all that, and it was a lot cheaper. But I mean, what was being shown, this guy couldn't sleep. I just distinctly remember that.
That's really disturbing to think that something has to go that far, and then there's less emphasis on packaging and the way they handle the meat and everything else. I mean, we need to really bring it home. And yeah, they did take and they put in these huge stores, and they took the power away from us. And we're going to have to baby step our way back. But I look at this, you know, keeping it with the silver lining. This is going to push people into that.
Yeah, absolutely. So eggs up 55% year on year. And look at how this is written, right? It says with, you know, bird killing millions of chickens. The reality is they were euthanized. It wasn't that killed them. People made the decision, the power structure made the decision to take them out. And this is why we have, you know, the prices that we do. It's been a concerted effort. It's not that there's millions dropping from the bird. No, it's the decision to just cull them all because one might have a sniffle.
I know. And really, as I read into this and understand it more, the problem is that it's not horrible for the birds. The birds should be able to catch a cold or something and get over it. But the thing is they're not allowing them because that would make the birds stronger. So there's such a deliberate yuckiness behind this.
You know, to me, I'm just sitting here questioning, like, it's only the chickens that have, they're calling it the bird flu. Oops, the bird. Yeah. But yet, you know, that's it. And I mean, you hear all these horror stories where, again, this comes down to big govern, you know what. Mm-hmm. And it's like they've taken over. To me, the irony is it's people that's enforcing this. Right. We're all humans, but if you're working for an industry, you know, could you be like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm affecting not only my fellow man, but my kids, my grandkids. Like, when do we finally stand up and realize, like, we are the problem because we're towing the line for the paycheck that they've put in front of us as a carrot to keep this whole cycle going. And so when you stop for just a second to step off of the hamster wheel and you see it, you're like, wow, we could really change this thing overnight if we could all wake up at the same time and go, okay, no more. We see where this is going. We see the deception. Again, it comes down to discernment. It's like, go within and really realize, like, where this is all heading. And again, I'm all about the positive, but we really need to point it out to people that just don't know what's really going on.
You know, it's that onion layers of onion with people who are in control, who are in certain areas, and it's their job to put certain things, you know, to make sure that certain things happen. Now, I heard of a website where if you get a chicken, you have to register it. And a lot of people thought it would be super funny to go online to that website and just register their dead chickens that were in the freezer. So they crashed the website. That's funny. That's great. However, I would not even entertain anything like that. I think just entertaining it, supporting it, showing that it's there is a problem. Why should we have to do such a thing? I think that's where we need to find ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the biggest problem in the world is the governmental structure of the world. I think that's apparent. It's so obvious now to more and more people, and yet there are still too many zombies that haven't woke up. You have a Norwegian fuel company that's refused to refuel U.S. submarines after the meeting yesterday of Trump and Zelensky and J.D. Vance. Interesting, isn't it? The separation that's going on. By the way, Trump is going to host the first White House Crypto Summit on March 7th, bringing together industry leaders to discuss regulatory policy, stablecoin oversight, and the potential role of Bitcoin in the U.S. financial system. Now, I defer to Joe when it comes to crypto because he has done a lot more than I have studying crypto.
Yes.
Well, you know, it's like one of those rabbit holes that is, along with all this other craziness, it's all related. And you kind of watch it, and, again, it goes back to every 100 years, the people governing and running the world seem to have a scamdemic, they have a world war, and then all of a sudden they have an economic collapse. That's the one thing that I still haven't seen yet. Are they going to transition us into something like a digital asset? I really believe they already have it in. I mean, just look at the SEC and the Ripple Labs and Brad Garlinghouse and all these guys that were just bombarded with chronically going to court over that. And you got to wonder, why weren't they picking on other coins like Bitcoin or Litecoin or any of the other ones? I mean, they call them dinosaur coins now. I mean, there's thousands of these coins. And yes, there's deceit, deception, and fraud and everything else. But you know what? Look at the dollar. I mean, it's no different. Like, you go into almost anything and, they were laundering money. They were doing this. Yeah, well, it's the dollar. So we do live in polarity. Again, hot, cold, good, bad, up, down. Same thing with the crypto. It could be used as good or bad. I just hope, again, I'm optimistic. I just hope that they have it worked out so that we have a, not such a hard fall whenever this transition like it did, the last 100 years.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's an energy. It's an energy to be called in and utilized for what you think is appropriate. And that energy, other people are going to take it and use it for different things. So I think we need to sit down and have a hard talk with ourselves and decide, okay, what am I going to do with this energy, if I have to move and utilize it. But then you're also relying on everyone else to come to the same agreement that, okay, everybody else believes this thing exists on the computer. But like Joe says, the dollar is corruptible too. It's all corruptible.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have David O. Sachs, that's the White House AI and crypto czar, and we'll be heading this little venture. Well, Trump has previously signaled he intends to make crypto policy a national priority and make the U.S. a global hub for blockchain innovation. We'll see what comes out of it. Meanwhile, there was a crypto scam. This is interesting. The scandal began with a tweet. The world wants to invest in Argentina. Javier Milei, Argentina's president, posted at 7:01 p.m. on Valentine's Day, offering a code to buy new cryptocurrency. Digital coin was called I guess that's dollar Libra, and it had been created 23 minutes earlier. Over the next few hours, thousands of people invested. Its value skyrocketed, then it swiftly collapsed. The largest stakeholders had sold their coins, leaving almost everyone else with a collective $250 million in losses. To cryptocurrency veterans, it was the classic rug pull. A celebrity touts a new digital coin, prices soar, and then insiders who own most of the coin pull the rug. They sell their stakes for a big profit at the expense of amateur investors who got in later. To Argentina, it was a national scandal. The president, critics said, had just scammed his constituents. The opposition called for impeachment. Argentine citizens filed a dozen criminal complaints. Federal prosecutor opened an investigation with Mr. Milei as a target. Then he left for Washington. At the Conservative Political Action Conference on Saturday, he gave a combative speech ahead of President Trump, the other president who promoted a new cryptocurrency this year that soared and then crashed. That coin, the Trump dollar, generated enormous profits for insiders and a cumulative $2 billion in losses for more than 800,000 other investigators. So, here you go. I don't trust it. It's just me. Invisible, nothing but digital numbers. I'm just somebody that's always going to be hesitant in that world. I'd rather have a piece of silver. I'd rather have some chickens and some eggs. I'd rather have some fruit trees and a nice lush garden.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm all about the tangible, physical things that you can hold, whether it be silver, gold, a house. your vehicles, again, chickens, cows, whatever. But, I mean, if you look at the dollar, what has been backing that dollar since at least the 70s, since Nixon took us off the gold standard? I mean, yeah, the petro. Well, they call it, the only thing that was holding it up until even today is confidence. I was told this by a high level, well, I'll just say I was told this by somebody that was at the top of the Fed, we'll call it that. And I was just like, wait a minute. So oil isn't even backing this then. I thought that we switched gears from, say, the gold to, black gold, the oil. So, but it wasn't even that. It was just confidence. And I thought, oh my gosh, so there was really nothing backing it. You look at the stock market, it's no different than the crypto. Everything's run similar. Like, you could put them side by side and be like, oh my goodness, here we go. And so you were talking about the rug being pulled out from under you. When Trump just got inaugurated, right before that, the Trump coin went through the roof. And it came back down, but there was also the Barron coin. And it went through the roof, and it was ridiculous. And all of a sudden, not only did it come back down, but it got the rug pulled out from under people where they just lost everything. And I know some people that did. That's how I know. I was like, oh my gosh. So, be careful out there. Do your due diligence, do your research, and, it's kind of like gambling. It's no different than the stock market.
Yeah, I definitely would think that that's something for me. It'd be very wobbly to walk out on like a plank that you don't know for sure how stable it is, and you don't know all the rules. And let's say you're on a different planet with different rules for physics. You don't really know what exactly is going to happen when you walk out there. That's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know for those that have studied things, you can make educated guesses and follow your intuition or follow your logic. And I know people have made a lot of money doing it. It's just something that wouldn't be me, and I know Cindy wouldn't either, but yet there are those that would. And if you feel confident and you've done your research, well, it's just like, to me, it's like betting on a fight, betting on a football game, betting on whatever. That's what it is. It's a bet. Oh, by the way, I-40 in western North Carolina, which crumbled into the river during Hurricane Helene, has been closed for 5 months, officially reopened. So here you go. Things are happening now that we have new people in the White House. But at the same time, we do clearly recognize that Zelensky is an actor. In fact, here's IMDb. He's an actor, right? We know this. 6th president of Ukraine, was a comedian, actor, screenwriter, film producer, and director. But you know who else has an IMDb? Oh, yeah. Donald Trump has an IMDb. So, again, producer, actor, writer. And, I don't know if you know, but J.D. Vance has an IMDb as well. Yeah. It also states he's another writer and also an actor. I think some people are waking up. We need a lot more waking up.
Well, surprise on that one.
I don't have much to say. It's just it's so crazy that it's in our faces. We were talking the other day, it may have been yesterday, that how everything is just set up as it's just literally a stage. It just seems to be actors, and I mean, nothing else makes sense.
Yeah, and and sometimes the plays that they put out are just silly, extra silly and stupid.
Yeah, again, do I believe in our system? No, I don't believe in the system. I don't believe in the political system of any country on the planet. I again think that what we have are actors playing roles. Do they have some authority to do certain things? Yes, I think so, to a degree. But again, I think that when you have them go against the real power structure out there, then we have some historical events. Again, we could look to Kennedy and Dallas. We could look to McKinley. We could look to all these different And then even just accidents, there's things that happen. There's a reason why people that seem to be in a position of power don't just change things overnight, because, we probably won't be seeing them for long. It's just, you get cement shoes from the mafia, then we realize, wait a minute, it's like a mafia that's running the planet. So it's no different. Nigeria sued Pfizer for $7 billion. This is like another point. The corporations, we know about NGOs, at least a lot of people do now. Whether you're talking Pfizer, whether you're talking Monsanto, billions, and it still goes on. And there's still people out there using this and then wondering, wow, why did so-and-so get lymphoma? The IQs have dropped. They have. That's just a fact. And there's heavy metal toxicity that makes it hard for people to think clearly. And then you have all the frequencies. It's not all just simply a set of coincidences.
No, it's a mess, and we have to make a deliberate attempt to detox.
Yeah, on top of that, I would suggest maybe doing a deep dive on the country and corporations, as Mike just said. As you're driving, and when you come into a town, the first thing you see is became incorporated on this date. Right. And so when you start to look at that and you look at the history of the country, the republic for which it stands. Everybody's talking about democracy. It's our democracy. No, this is a republic. And when you do the research, you do the deep dive into this, and you look into corporations and how the world has changed since, the late 1860s up into 1871. All of a sudden, this starts to make sense to you. You're like, oh my gosh, so everything that's a corporation, they're not held accountable, because that's what people want. They want transparency. They want accountability. Why can't we get that? Well, if everything has been overlaid on the country like a corporation, then everything's been treated as such. Then once you start to get on this path, all of a sudden you have these aha moments. So
yeah, the accountability part, I think people don't want any more than what we have to be accountable for. It's like, here we are at the bottom. We have to be accountable. I don't think we're asking anything extra.
No, and, this is talking about, how about instead of adding a pink ribbon to their products this month, companies actually remove the ingredients that cause cancer in the first place? How critical is it, hypocritical is it, to have known cancer-causing agents and then be, putting it out there, this is Cancer Awareness Month. Well, again, if you're promoting stuff and selling stuff with ingredients that cause cancer, aren't you the biggest hypocrite that there could be?
I think so.
I was looking at that the picture that you had up there earlier, Mike, and it was how the people were spraying, like the glyphosate. Yeah. And how many people have gone to court and won millions of dollars over and over and over, but yet there it is, it's still legal. And as long as it's legal and it's on the shelves, people are still using it, even though it's bad. Well, maybe it won't affect me, but over and over and over, you see this.
It's a mess.
Yeah, this should be illegal. Yeah, this should be illegal. And, again, Bayer Monsanto, should pay for it. They have paid, but, again, it's criminal. It truly is criminal what's going on. And the spraying in the skies it's still happening. Even in states that it's illegal to do it, they're still doing it. What does that tell you? It tells you that the power structure that we see is not the real power structure. So, until humans take back control, you're not going to get real change. Sunlight isn't toxic. Sunscreen. Oh, yeah, exactly. They taught us at an early age to fear the sun. Why? Well, because the sun's literally healing your DNA. As far as cancer goes, sun is so beneficial. And again, Joe is the one with the doctorate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what we're trained in mainstream is exactly the opposite of what we're looking on the screen here. It's, put SPF 2055, I guess we're probably up to by now, right? Like you're a big glob of white when you go into the ocean, and then all the fish around you start floating to the top. So that might tell you something. But and again, I can't advocate don't put this on, because what I was trained is just the opposite. You got to protect yourself and all these things, but you have to use your common sense. Start to read labels and see what is actually in the product that you're putting on your body, and then go to the CDC and look it up, because ironically they give you all these toxins and it's right there in black and white. But yet, because it's legal, because it's still on the shelf, we are, and we don't have any other choice, seemingly, then we use what's in front of us.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we got to do our best to wake up people. When anybody tells you you're wrong about Freemasons controlling the world, again, the very first president, Freemason. Yes. I mean, it's right there. It's again, secret societies, and we've touched on this before. And, talking about taking our country back, well, they've controlled it since day one. And you could see this. It's been since day one. Yes, it's progressively gotten worse. Absolutely. But there's still time to change. We need to have complete change. And I know there's a lot of people that can't think out of the box and, think, how could we possibly change? But I think, again, it's going to happen through, first, I think there's positive steps, like we've seen. The perhaps breaking up of NATO is starting to happen. I think you're going to see the EU split up. Lowering lowering the amount of power and authority that certain agencies, three-letter agencies, have, and then eliminating them entirely is a step in the right direction. This entire power structure is really something that is artificial in nature. It's something that's so unnatural. And I think, again, when you're used to a certain system in a certain way, sometimes we just don't think out of the box enough.
Well, I think the thing that's been coming to me, and the lessons that I've noticed this week, is to visualize the world that you want, visualize the things that you want, and it's up to the universe to pull those things together, but it's our job to at least create the picture of what we want.
Be the change you want to see. Who said that?
Who said that?
So,
indeed.
Absolutely, guys. Again, come and check out evolutionaryenergyarts.com, and thank you so much, Ellie, for all your work. It's just a thing of beauty to see it come together. And again, do check out testimonials. This one right here, I'll never forget this. When this lady walked into the room, the lights turned on and off, and I knew there was something significant here. So she was going through a horrible condition for 30 years. And the guides used me as basically a vehicle to bring about amazing healing that the mainstream wasn't able to do. And so, not saying that I can do miracles and somebody else couldn't. We all could. It's just a matter of what you're going to prioritize, how much you're going to give energy to your own health and wellness, because again, your vehicle, your body, if it's unhealthy, if it's not going at an optimal rate, like again, you could put inferior gas in a great car and you could ruin that engine. So this is why we recommend organic food. This is why we recommend, again, a healthy lifestyle. Exercise, we exercise all the time. We exercise religiously. Our spiritual practice is a daily thing, every single day. Mind, body, breath. You really have to prioritize yourself.
Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.